It's all but impossible to hug those near and dear to us from 6 feet away. So what to do? Luke Burbank has been asking the experts.
You might have seen this video when it first went viral. You know, back in the before times. It's adorable, sure, but it also demonstrates something about us humans, about something we need that we're not getting enough of these days.
When we hug a person, both people in that exchange release oxytocin.
That's right, we're not getting our daily requirement of hugs, says Emiliana Simon-Thomas, who studies human happiness at UC Berkeley.
When we release oxytocin, we feel pleasure, we feel warmth, we feel that sense of safety. Our stress physiology becomes quieter. Oxytocin is a really important part of our collective demeanor as a species.
A species that these days is supposed to be socially distanced, which, while safer, can feel very isolating. In just a few months, we went from this to this, and to, well, the even slightly more absurd.
Yeah, hey, good to see you, Lynn.
Back again, together.
High five, left hand.
Any way you look at it, zero physical contact is bad for our health. But, says Simon-Thomas, there are still ways to stay connected.
I think it's going to be a challenge, and I think we are going to have to take on some compensatory behaviors. If it's something like making eye contact more deliberately with other people who we encounter, even at a 6-foot distance, in times where previously we might have just walked by, we need to make that eye contact.
Simon-Thomas says there are still things we can do to boost our oxytocin, engaging in small talk with strangers, and, weird as it may sound, even hugging ourselves solo can help make up for some of this loss of human connection. But the big question is hugging someone outside your bubble ever okay these days?
If you want zero risk, don't hug.
Lindsay Marr is an environmental engineer at Virginia Tech and a leading expert on how the virus is transmitted. She says there's still hope for the hug, but there are some rules.
If there's someone you really want to hug, I think the safest way to do it is to, first of all, make sure both people are wearing a mask. Second of all, start from a distance, cross that distance quickly to get to your hug. Keep your faces away from each other, in fact, pointing in opposite directions.
If you're having trouble visualizing it, the New York Times published this handy guide to safe, or at least safer, hugging for reference. It's based on Marr's recommendations. Meanwhile, in Washington State, where I live,
we have some good news for our state. Today,
some of the strict quarantine measures were lifted, which had me excited to hug my daughter for the first time in 3 months. I printed out this helpful graphic from the New York Times. I texted it to her, so we're on the same page about safe hugging, and she just showed up. So let's see how this goes. Hey! Hi! Come on in. Okay, wait. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, hi, sweetie. Analyze this hug. How was it?
The hug was great because you were both wearing masks. It looks like you pointed your faces away from each other. If I had to critique one thing, there was a bit of, maybe a few seconds where you kind of lingered at a distance of a few feet, like taking each other in. That's where you kind of want to sprint to get to your hug, do the hug, and then sprint away from each other. But otherwise, I would say that's a pretty good hug.
Even if you can't get a pretty good hug in real life, Emiliana Simon-Thomas says just the memory of a good hug can go a long way.
We all have to sort of figure that equation out for ourselves. And then I also think for adults in particular, we can use our powers of visualization. We can imagine the times that we have been touching people who we trust and care about.
So go ahead and watch all the adorable hugging videos you want. After all, it's self-care. Something we can probably all use a little more of these days.